Well, according to my watch, it's 10:30. That's what time our session starts. So, good morning. Welcome to the 38th CALLERLAB Convention. This session is Plus Choreography. My name is John Swindle. I'm from Rockledge, Florida, and a member of CALLERLAB and the BOG. I'm joined by Paul Bristow from, you told me how to pronounce this, Rhineslip, England. He is the co-chairman of the Plus Committee. Skip Brown over my left is from, yes, can't even read my writing here. He's from Portland, Maine. Yeah, I knew you were from Maine. I just couldn't remember what town. And he is the chairman of the Plus Committee. Thank you. I'm going to start off this morning with just a brief glimpse of what I do with Load the Boat. Most of the time when you call Load the Boat, you call it from a line of four facing. Centers are half sashayed and the ends are facing each other. Try calling just the heads to do the center part of a Load the Boat. They're a standard couple now, and it'll give you some good workshop material. If you do that, they end up facing their partner's corner. And a quick get out is just touch quarter, centers trade, boys run, slide through an Allemande left. I also like to use the ends to load the boat back to back. And you can do this by having the head square through four hands and step centers in and cast off three quarters. And when the ends load the boat from back to back, it's not just going to the other end of the line. They've got to actually pass the three people and face in. A quick get out from this is just have the centers pass through and everybody start through and slide through an Allemande left, or everybody slide through and load the boat and they're back home. Makes a nice singing call figure. Head square through four, centers in, cast off three quarters, ends load the boat. Centers pass through, star through, slide through, swing your corner, and promenade. It's a half square promenade, but it works really nice, especially when they're first starting to do load the boat from back to back. I have all of these figures plus a few more up here on the handout if you're interested. But another thing you might do is, once you've had the heads of the sides square through and step centers in and cast off three quarters, have everybody load the boat. Now you've got the centers loading the boat from a standard couple. You've got the ends loading the boat from back to back. And once they've done that, you might add a roll if you feel real lucky. And that's up here with the get out from it. So that's what kind of some of the things I do with Load the Boat. Which one of you two would like to go first? Age before beauty, okay. Anybody got an idea on that? Skip, you're the chairman.
I'm the oldest one in the room, so I guess I get to go first, okay? All righty. As chairman of the Plus program, there are probably people with a misconception that I am the greatest Plus square dance caller in the world, and nothing could be further from the truth, okay? As chairman of the Plus program committee, I'm an administrator and run committee meetings and things like that. I also call, and I call a Plus program, but I'm not a whiz-bang national star caller. People dance to me because they consider me smooth, interesting, and fun. Okay? There's no music in here, but if you people don't mind dancing without music, if I could get it square, maybe I could show you some of the things that I do with the Plus program. Anybody interested? Oh, yeah, we're going to get a square. We got ladies in here. Oh, we're not going to have a real square, are we? Only going to have a couple of girls in there? Okay. So we've got one gentleman that needs to grow longer hair for me. Is that right? Okay. All righty. Head dancers touch a quarter and the boys run around the girls. Swing through. Explode and roll. Now, is Clark Baker in the room? No. Unroll. and load the boat. There's no such call as unroll, but if you do it, the dancers will do it, and they'll have a little bit of fun with it. Is that right? All right. You swing through again. Explode and roll. Unroll and load the boat one more time. And do an L-man left. And square your set. Okay? All right. Number 3 couple. Did I do all that? Didn't you hear the first thing out of my mouth that said I am not the greatest plus caller in the world? Okay, all righty. Number 3 couple, individually face your corner. There you go. And box the net. And let go and square your set like that. And the head couples half square through. 2 hands. There. And step to a wave. And we've got 3 ladies and 1 man that should have longer hair over here. All the girls on one side, all the boys on another side. You can call virtually anything here. There's no restriction. There's no gender. Right and left through and all those things like that. So you can play with things. Do a relay the deucey. The get out is fun. As long as we have all boys and all girls, I think we're going to be all right. Are we happy? All righty. Swing through. Centers run. New centers hinge. Cut the diamond. And Ferris wheel. Double pass through. Track 2. Okay? Swing through again. Centers run around the ends. Bend the line. Touch 1/4. Coordinate. We did it. Bend the line again. We still got all boys and all girls together, haven't we? Pass the ocean. No, yeah, 3. No. That. You guys were right. No, stay that way. That's me. I tell you, I'm not the greatest one in the world. I'm not even the second greatest one, and the numbers are going down rapidly, aren't they? When I get to 25, stop me. All right? Swing through. Centers run around the ends. How am I going to get that guy back there? I don't know. Bend the line. Touch 1/4. Coordinate again. They say if you do it twice, it helps, doesn't it? It did. Bend the line again. Pass the ocean. All 8 circulate. Swing through. Centers trade. All the boys run around all the girls. Bend this line. Star through. All righty? Pass through the center. Square through 3. Somewhere do an Alaman left for me. I don't even know. Close. I'm not paying attention to resolution or anything like that. I'm just trying to show some of the things I do. Okay, one more time. Head dancers touch 1/4, please. And the boys run around the girls. And do a right and left through. Veer to the left and the ladies hinge. Now we have diamonds. If the center girls touch left hands, we have an ocean wave of ladies and a box of boys. Okay? Center girls trade by the left arm. And ladies swing through. And the boys circulate in your big box. Do a diamond circulate. Center boys trade. Boys swing through. Ladies circulate in your big box. Ladies face in. Extend. And the boy run around 1 girl. Pass the ocean. Explode and pass the ocean. Explode and roll. And unroll. And load the boat 1 more time. Unroll is going to be a call, isn't it? Swing through. Boy run around 1 girl. Do a Ferris wheel. And in the middle, square through enough to get to your corner, if your corner's even there. But do an Alaman left somewhere and promenade home. All righty? And that's some of the stuff that I do. Now, while there's a live square out there, is there anybody out there that I might have tickled their imagination and they'd like to show some things that they do? And I'm looking at all the challenge callers in the back and saying, child's play, I could do that, you know. Anybody want to take a hand? This is your committee meeting. This is your entertainment. All righty. I've pretty much run my course for right now. I do have one handout up here, and it's a compilation of singing call figures using plus movements that I've compiled over the years through various note services. And before you leave, you could have one of those, okay? How about a round of applause for my square? Thank you very much.
All right. As you are getting the handouts up here, I will again introduce Paul Bristow, who came all the way over here from England to help do this stuff. Mr. Paul?
Well, good morning. I must apologize for the croaky voice. This is a new style I'm trying to develop. Me and, was it Bruce Springsteen and Rod Stewart, we're kind of getting this croaky, crunchy voice. Ribbit, yeah. I'd like to show you a few bits and pieces that I use myself, and to do so, I would like a square. Can I ask for the young, good-looking, intelligent dancers, please? Okay, I'll remove all restrictions. Bring them on. Oh, you're going to be the girl this time. All right, well, I can work with that. All righty. There are a number of things which I enjoy about the Plus program. One of which is probably not going to look so interesting from here, but we can make it work anyway. Let's have the heads pass through. Separate round one to make a line. Good. Pass through, wheel and deal, and zoom. Now these are gadgets. These are gimmicks and gadgets. Boys are in the middle, in case you're not sure. Boys swing through. Boys turn through. And boys courtesy turn. Boys. It's interesting because it's unusual, and it's something I always say to people, you can only do this at the Plus program, on no other program. It disappears after this. On the Plus program is the only time that you can do courtesy turns that are different. Boys pass through, star through, Ferris wheel, centers swing through, turn through, the outsides reach in left and courtesy turn what's coming at you. Now, we have some unusual combinations. Can I just, for the sake of clarity, can I just ask the original boys to raise your hands, please? And so you can see you have an unusual line from here. Just a little different. From here, past the ocean. All 8 circulate. Turn through. Courtesy turn. And it makes the dancers think a little. My experience is that you have to gauge accurately how much help you must give the dancers in order to allow them to succeed. Obviously, dancer success is 100% essential, but the whole concept of using courtesy turn from unusual combinations is part of the Plus program and appears first in the Plus program. So I therefore consider that to be a Plus call. But that's just one of the ideas I thought of. Let's have everybody star through. One of my favorite calls on Plus is the call of AC-doocy. Now, we need to remind people that an AC-doocy is where the centers trade and the ends circulate. And sometimes we need to remind them who are the ends and who are the centers. From here, it's relatively easy. AC-doocy, girls trade, boys circulate. And as you can see and would expect, you're not going to have too many problems. California twirl. A left hand hold in the middle might create a little consternation for some people. But again, it's not too difficult. AC-doocy. Good. Bend the line. Pass through. From here, of course, we still have centers who can trade and we have ends who can circulate. Now you're moving a little bit further up the difficulty gradient, but nevertheless, with a little bit of assistance from the caller, you will succeed. AC-doocy, the centers trade and the ends circulate. And you can see that the combinations are still working quite nicely. Now, just for a point of reference, all the original boys, raise your hands. And notice that you have still got normal lines. So this hasn't actually changed a great deal. Dancers like normality. Callers have difficulty retaining normality sometimes, but dancers like it. If you bring the dancers back to normal arrangements, they're happy. If you don't, they will quite often normalize the square themselves. They have this automatic reset button in them somewhere. Past the ocean. AC-doocy. Again, we're now working out of ocean waves. Swing through. Boy run. Ferris wheel. Centers pass through, put centers in. Now, from here we have a situation where we can AC-doocy, but be very careful, because what I'm going to do is to try and create something a little unusual. I'm going to ask the dancers to do it once and a half. So from here, AC-doocy once and a half. And you should have a tidal ocean wave, right-handed, go right and left through. So it walks straight into a normal right and left through. And because it's a normal right and left through, the dancers actually react to it quite well. Pass through. Wheel and deal. Centers pass through, put centers in. Good. And it starts from this situation. AC-doocy once and a half to a right and left through. Francois, that way. Tidal ocean waves. Right in the You always get one, don't you? You always get one. As you can see, though, and it's a good point. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that, Francois. I asked him to do that earlier on because to emphasize the fact that the most difficult part of this call is for the people in the center to work out that a trade once and a half is not a trade once and then half a circulate. It's a common occurrence. And obviously, if you know where the problem areas are, it's easier to prevent people running into difficulties. Pass through. Wheel and deal. Centers pass through, and everybody pass through. Do we have centers? Do we have ends? Could the centers trade? Could the ends circulate? AC-doocy. Again, some extra information might be a good idea for the dancers to give them a chance to get into this. From here, star through, pass through, AC-doocy, centers go once and a half. And you should have a right-handed wave, and the ends are the points of diamonds, if you wish. Good. From here, in-facing points, I beg your pardon, madam. In-facing points, good. In a wave, swing through. The other star through. He doesn't look like a girl, does he? I could sense your hesitation. Extend. Oh, he's quite cute. Be careful. Swing through. Okay. Scoot back. Boy run. Reverse the flutter wheel. Sweep a quarter. Veer right. Centers hinge. Okay. We have diamonds. Now, we can call AC-doocy from diamonds, but if we do, we will see all sorts of things we were not expecting on many occasions. You would probably have to remind the people that the centers of the diamond are the centers and the points of the diamond are the ends. AC-doocy. That one is probably up in the 99% likely to fail part of the for the average plus dancer, but you can nevertheless, with a little help and assistance, get people to go through it. Flip the diamond. Good. Recycle. Touch a quarter. Boy run. Touch a quarter. We have columns from here. Circulate. Good. Circulate. Centers trade. The other boy run. Now, I'm creating this a little bit by divisive methods. But here we have a situation where the centers obviously could trade because they just did it. And the ends could circulate, which would feel like a trade. AC-doocy. Good. From here, centers circulate, the others California twirl. Good. Everybody from here, AC-doocy. And you could ask the centers to go once and a half, but not the ends. Centers walk and dodge. Swing through. And the boys run. Chase right. AC-doocy once and a half. And this gives you this strange tidal wave of 6 down the center with a diamond in the middle. It's a little unusual, but what you may find even more disturbing is the fact that we have 4 boys in the middle and 2 girls either end. Some imagination is required for this choreography. Boys, diamonds circulate. Jolly good, takes them a few moments. Sorry, I should have said gentlemen, shouldn't I? I do apologize. Girls, linear cycle, hinge up, face a fold, go through the diamond center, double pass, and peel on the far side. It's kind of different, it's kind of cute, but it works. Boys, flip the diamond, extend, and we're getting some ideas. Boy, run. There's a lot more stuff I could do with AC-doocy, but I'm going to change to a different call that I'd like to have a look at this moment in time, and that's the call of anything that's spread. There's many reasons I like to use this call. From here, pass through. Wheel and deal, and the center sweep a quarter. Now, this is something I'll share with you. Everybody point at your home position. Go there. It's the ultimate new resolution technique patented by me. You never have to worry about sight calling your modules again. Forget it. Sorry. Pay attention, Paul. Okay. The call of anything in spread is quite an interesting one because there's lots of things that you can do. Let's start off with a relatively simple one. Head, star, through, and spread. Good. From here, everybody star through and spread. The centers will step apart. The outside people will step between them. Everybody star through and spread. The centers will step apart. The outsides will step between them. And so you can start to play with the concept of spread. Centers touch a quarter and everybody spread. As they step apart, the other people step together sideways to hold hands. Good. Centers, California twirl. And spread. As they step apart, the others step together to hold hands. Centers trade and spread. As they step apart, the others step together to hold hands. Centers, California twirl and spread. As they step apart, the others step together. Centers trade and spread. New centers, and here it comes, left touch a quarter and spread. The centers slide across in front. Now, notice one or two of the gentlemen that deliberately went the wrong way, and I'm going to run with that. We have left-handed ocean waves. Okay? Do a left swing through. Remember that when you spread along the line of a wave, it's a nose-to-nose job or a kneecap-to-kneecap job. I often use that terminology because the dancers find it amusing. If you're not knocking kneecaps, you're not doing it right. I'm sure it must have some alternate reasoning, but I've no idea what it is. Do a left swing through and spread. Remember, you must be knocking kneecaps or knocking noses. Either way, it gets the dancers to pass front to front rather than back to back. And that can be very important because what I would then move on to do would be this. Swing through and half spread. Now, if you go in front of the person, you're fine. Veer right. And it takes a few moments to remember which direction is right, even though I gave it to the dancers in the preceding call. Bend the line. Pass the ocean. Swing through. Half spread. Veer right. Notice on the half spread, everyone was going to the right anyway, so the dynamic is there. But the dancers initially fight it. Second time you call it, they're all on board with it. They're all happy with it. Ferris wheel and spread. Good. From here, touch a quarter. Boys run. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've got my boys and girls mixed up. I do apologize. Boys, whatever you just did, do it again. I love it. I love it. From here, circulate, trade, roll, pass through, bend the line and roll, zoom, spread, pass the ocean, swing through, split circulate, boys run. Do you know, these are some of the best dances I've called to for years. I'm just enjoying this so much. But I probably should do something a bit more. Pass the ocean, swing through and spread, centers trade, half spread, via left, couple circulate, Ferris wheel, spread, good, touch a quarter, boys run, zoom, spread, centers half sachet, cast off 1/4, centers run, centers trade, pass through, wheel and deal, turn through girls, girls courtesy turn. And so you can start to build up on some of the combinations. It's not a great deal of difficulty. Girls pass through, touch a quarter, boys trade, boys run. The other thing that I wanted to have a look at was the call of crossfire. Not a complicated call. I like to directionally instruct people that the call of crossfire is easily danced as centers trade, ends crossfold, and the original centers that were extend to finish the call. I find that gives a good explanation. Centers trade, ends crossfold, and the original centers that were extend. And that kind of works in the dancer's mind. Boys run. Good. Acey-deucey. Swing through. That's not the best combination of calls, I'll admit that. Boy run. Couple circulate. Crossfire. Absolutely brilliant. Peel off. Bend the line. Pass through. Now, the information I gave the dancers earlier on the crossfire was that the centers would trade, the ends would crossfold, then the original centers would extend. Everybody crossfire. We end up with the ocean wave in the middle. Swing through. Extend. Split circulate. Good. Centers trade. Boys run. Pass through. Wheel and deal. Centers wheel around and put centers in. A little bit tight on this floor. A little bit tight, but it works. The call of crossfire can be danced from here. The same rules would apply, but this is probably the most awkward situation from which you can dance it because the ends have to cross-fold in a very tight space in the middle. Quite often, if I'm really working this seriously, I would suggest that the centers should take a step forward first, then do their trade to give the ends a bit more room to work. So from here, crossfire, centers take a step forward. The ends now got plenty of room to cross-fold. The centers that were trade and then extend. And the final extend would be to the right hand because that's where a general extend would go. But for half the people, it will feel uncomfortable. So it's things to keep in your mind. You'll always end up with a few left-hand extends on this one. Swing through. Boy run. Bend the line. Pass through. Bend the line and the centers roll. And everybody pass through. From here we have centers, we have ends. The centers could trade and they could extend, the ends could cross-fold, but end people, be careful. When you do your cross-fold, you just pass each other, turn face in, and hold each other's hand. Crossfire, centers trade, centers extend, the ends cross-fold. You have an ocean wave running up and down inside a couple on the outside. Centers fan the top. Just try not to break any arms. We're not insured for that. Extend. Swing through. Boy run. If I'm going to use that type of crossfire, I would normally teach it like this. Tag the line all the way through. Face in. Pass through. Bend the line and the boys roll. By putting the boys in the center, I have a lot more control. everybody, including the girls, and I'll say that out of a joke, but sometimes the girls don't think of themselves as being close enough to do it. Everybody pass through. Okay, from here I want you to do the crossfire. Now the boys, you're in the center, so you're going to do a trade and extend. Girls, you're going to do the crossfold, but girls, look to see where the crossfold will be. You'll be looking in the ear of the boy furthest from you. That's where you would be. He won't be there, but look where he is now. That'll give you a target point to go for. And girls, at the end of the call, you'll be holding hands with the other girl. So from here, crossfire, girls crossfold, boys trade, boys extend. You have a wave in the middle. Good. Boys fan the top. Extend. Boy run. And a right and a left through. Past the ocean. Fan the top. This is a little difficult on this floor, but let's have the centers of each side, which would be the girls. Hinge. Now here's a complicated but nevertheless doable situation from which you can do the call of a crossfire. Remember, the parts of the crossfire are for the centers to trade, the ends to crossfold, and the original centers to extend. Let's have the girls trade first of all. Boys, you're working around the two girls closest to you, crossfold, and end up putting your right shoulder into the back of that girl. Girls, you're the centers. You still need to extend. Take a step forward, girls. And there's your final situation. This is a very complicated situation of T-bones that you're not likely to be able to make much use of with an average plus group. However, from here you could do a peel to top or something similar if you wanted to. Girls peel off. Boys extend. Boys cast 3/4. Girls move up 1/4. Hold hands with the boy. Boys 3/4. That was a 3/4 cast. And the girls have to move up to the boys. As I say, that's very complicated. Bend the line via left. Good. Couples circulate. Okay, it's enough for now. I've gone too far. It's really taken it outside of the Plus program by about 12,000 miles. But nevertheless, you can see the concepts that you can get into. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for dancing to me, and I hope that you...
Wait a minute. I want the square to stay up there just for a second. I was out in the hallway. I was out in the hallway talking to another caller just a little while ago, and he gave me a get out. And I want to see if it really works. So his just pair off, step in there, turn and face your corner. Everybody swing through. Spin the top. Single hinge. Girls run. Reverse roll away. And Alabama left. I like that. All right. Thank you. Sir? I know, but they did.
Can I just...
We'll work on that.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? I want to talk to the dancers in particular. You can sit down, but upon careful reflection, I realized that the last explanation I gave was incorrect. The final finishing formation after that peel to top should have been diamonds, not the tidal two-face lines. So I apologize for that. I'd missed out a step, so I'm sorry. But if you go back and think about it, don't drive yourself crazy. That was me making a mistake to prove I'm human, not you failing to achieve what I called correctly. So I apologize for that. Ed. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, of course.
Remember to state your name.
Ed Foote from Pittsburgh. How do you reconcile the idea that sometimes Crossfire is a 4-person call and other times it's an 8-person call, and the fact that the word extend is not in the CALLERLAB definition, and the example you did at the very end of the facing point-to-point diamond where you had the girls extend, but they did not extend to touch each other in the middle. But when you did crossfire from lines facing out, then the resulting centers did step forward to make a wave in the middle. How do you reconcile that?
I have to be honest, I can't. I wish I could. My feeling is that there are certain aspects that seem to work but are difficult to explain. To go back to the one with the ocean wave in the middle, my feeling is that if you extend, having had the centers, having had the centers of out-facing lines trade places, and then extend, my feeling is they should step forward to hold hands. Because if we were starting from a static square and we asked people to extend, that's where they would go. That's my opinion.
There is no word extend in the definition.
Okay, so...
For crossfire. It says step forward, and we have generically said, oh, that just means extend. But the word extend is not in the definition.
I see what you're saying. I'm sorry, yeah, absolutely. I just seem to see it working that way, and I wish I could explain it better than that, and I can't, because perhaps the definition doesn't quite fill that gap. Maybe there's a grey area. I don't know if that's really the answer to the question, but I do see that as finishing with the ocean wave in the middle. But that's my interpretation of the call. Similarly, with the point-to-point diamonds, the extend I would see there would be to, like a half circulate in a column. And I apologize because that's really mathematical and unscientific, but I see it as a half circulate in a column, and that's where I see the girls going after the trade.
In the diamond, they took a baby step forward.
Yes.
But from the lines facing out, they took a big step forward.
Yes. And
how do we determine when they do a baby step and when they do a big step?
I don't know. I wish I could. It is perhaps a hole in the definition that needs to be considered. I cannot answer the question, and I'm not going to fluster and pretend I can. So thank you for the question, though.
Does anyone else have any questions or anything they would like to demonstrate? Francois.
Thank you. Francois Lamoureux from Henderson. I think it's very important because when Paul showed the AC-Doocy from Diamonds, and earlier Skip was doing centers hinge, girls hinge, centers trade. I think it's very important that you say very centers trade because the centers are in each diamond, which Paul demonstrated when he did AC-Doocy from Diamonds. I think we have to be careful when we say either centers or very centers.
Anyone else have anything to add or subtract or question?
There is a question, actually. I would put this in general to everybody. And I'm still thinking about the question that Ed asked about where we have the out-facing line crossfire. I know I'm not the only caller who uses that. I see a lot of callers using that. I see a lot of callers, in fact, every caller I've ever seen expects an ocean wave in the middle. And maybe I haven't seen enough callers, and I apologize if that is the case. But the question is, the intent of the definition is to describe what we're doing, or are we supposed to do what the definition tells us to do, even if it doesn't quite work? And I know that's not a fair question, but I'm not asking this directly to you, Ed, but everybody sort of saying that I see it danced that way. Perhaps that's how it should be danced. Maybe we should change the definition to fit that. I don't know. Just a question. Let me give you the mic back.
The problem is with the definition, because you have the definition, and then at the very end, there's a sentence that says, if you call it from lines facing out, then you step to the wave in the middle. So that last sentence is it only deals with that last sentence. It doesn't deal with the whole definition. And it comes back to, is it a 4-person call or is it an 8-person call? And the whole definition is basically saying it's a 4-person call, except from this one place where all of a sudden it's an 8-person call. And then there are other examples, as you showed. So the problem is with the definition and that last sentence. If the last sentence wasn't in there, and since the word extend does not appear in the definition, then we'd have no problem. So the problem is with the definition.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Gentleman here has a comment.
Scott Amspoger from Albuquerque. when I call out facing crossfire, and I know this is a very well-worn controversy, and I don't want to go there, the next call is going to have the centers do something from a wave, like center swing through. So if they don't step to the wave, they will get there on their own. Yeah, in other words, if you're calling to a floor that has different opinions about how this needs to go, that fixes it.
Okay, thanks. Interesting.
You often hear... Neville McLaughlin, Australia. You often hear callers define crossfire using the word extend. And it is a fairly common occurrence, I believe, from my experience, listening to callers say it. I just wonder, is it worth a consensus, how many people use that as their definition and use the word extend in the definition? And if that's the case, is it worth looking at modifying, sending the recommendation for modifying the definition?
That's a good point. My feeling is that this is a session looking at choreographic examples, so we don't want to get tied down into the bits and pieces of that. But certainly we can pass the information on to the definitions committee and ask them to have a look and see if they feel that there's grounds for some better explanation.
Just by way, Brad Caldwell from Georgetown, Texas, by way of somewhat answering Ed's question, when he did the setup originally, he gave us a definition he was using. And I felt comfortable as the dancer, even though I was maybe not dancing my normal part, in stepping forward. Both times I felt comfortable with what my step forward was, when it was the extend to make the all eight application of it, and also when it was the very small step that we made later. And actually, when he did the one that came to the T-bone, it felt very natural for me to step forward. I was stepping forward into what I would normally step forward into. And it was the ends, I think, that really had the more difficult task in doing that, in doing the crossfold and maintaining their relationship to the dancers around them and keeping their spot. But for the centers, it was very natural. All we did was just trade and step forward, just as we would in any column. And that's where we ended up, was where we should be in that column. So it felt very natural. I don't think it answers your question about why is it different, other than he gave us a definition, a working definition, and I relied on that. And I think our dancers do that if we give them a working definition, but it doesn't necessarily correlate, as I understand, when you move into advance or challenge and you call that, and you have an expectation for them to finish in a starting double pass-through position, and they end up in a quarter tag position. That doesn't work very well, and I understand. Right. Correct.
On a specific point, now, shoot me down on this, but it says, I've got the definition here, thank you, Skip, and it says, the centers release hands, step straight forward, and form an ocean wave or mini wave with the dancers they are facing. Now that, to my mind, tells me that the centers are stepping forward to make an ocean wave. Whether that's the intention of the definition, I don't know, but it does. I'll read the whole thing. As the centers begin to trade, the ends cross forward. Completing their trade, the centers release hands and step straight forward, forming an ocean wave or mini wave with the dancers they are facing. It then goes on to say if the trade leaves the centers facing no one, they step forward and remain facing out. But apparently if they're facing other dancers, they should step up and make a wave. Now, that is in the definition, so I think that will give you some license to do that. But I'm just sort of reading the bits and pieces.
Oh, I'm sorry. He was going to read the definition, too. Anyone else? This is your session. All right. We can do that. Okay, that'd be good. If we can get a square again. And you are?
My name's Doug Holmes from Ontario, Canada. And I'd like to just follow up with another example or two from John's Load the Boat. It's okay.
A real square.
Okay. I'm not going to worry about a whole lot of resolutions or anything. I just want to put a kernel in your minds here about some possibilities. So heads, if you'll just step in to face your corner. Swing through. And the centers run. Tag your line all the way down and all face in. This is our reset position, because I'm going to ask you to come back right where you are now on that same flower on the floor. Okay, so when I ask you to reset, will you come here? Girls, will you do your part? Load the boat. Boys, square through 4. And this is a nice singing call, because it allows the boys to come right out and swing their corners. Would everyone reset, please? Okay. Girls, will you do your part? Load the boat. Boys, will you face the boy beside you? Single circle to an ocean wave. Step through and you could swing your corner. Okay, just go back in there, but the girls don't reset. Just stay where you are. Boys reset. Okay, now that the girls have done their part of load the boat, following all that initial opening, we could have the boys do a right and a left through. Go ahead and do that, boys. Boys pass the ocean. And if you did an extend or a step through, you could swing your corner again. Okay, boys reset. Here's another little variation for the boys in the middle. The girls have done the same thing. They've done their part of load the boat. They've got to the other end. Boys touch a quarter. The boys that are facing center or facing in run around the other boy and swing your corner. Okay? So there you go. So that's some little variations there. Thank you, dancers. Oh.
The same example, Francois Lamoureux, just 2 more boys, partner trade and roll, pass through, swing her. Or that's a question of presentation. If you want to really liven things up and you have like a sassy piece of music, you can say, boys, clap your hands for the girls, and here she comes. Same thing.
It's like boys 2 step forward and 2 step back. Whatever.
All right. The square may rest. Anything else from anyone? Okay, here's what I would ask you to do when you fill out the critique sheet. Tell everybody you enjoyed this session and we need to do it again next year. And thank you all for coming.